Gauteng authorities say extreme poverty and a severe lack of affordable housing were major factors in the deadly Usindiso building fire that took the lives of more than 70 people 2 years ago. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi released the Usindiso Commission of Inquiry's final report on Wednesday. It highlights Johannesburg's dangerous and deteriorating housing condition. Royston is a Director of Research and Advocacy at the Socio-Economic Rights Institute, joining us now to unpack the report further. Lauren, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. So indications that extreme poverty and lack of affordable housing were central causes in the tragedy that was Usindiso. I mean, what does this mean for how the city should be reframing its housing crisis response, given just how widespread this is across the city?
Unati and your listeners, viewers. Yes, indeed. I think the Commission goes quite far in recommending to the City of Johannesburg what can be done. The Premier released part 2 of the Commission's investigations on Thursday last week, and that concerned exactly this question, the broader question of the inner city buildings in Johannesburg. And what the Commission advises is firstly that the city does not have a coherent plan, but it doesn't need to start from scratch. There's a plan from years ago that needs to be recalibrated, updated, and then implemented. Secondly, the Commission recommends that services are provided immediately to buildings that are occupied. And that's a really important point given the fire that occurred at the end of August 2023. Another important recommendation that we want to highlight is how the Commission recognizes and indeed had evidence from many building residents who have formed committees in their buildings who should be consulted in the process of implementation. Budget allocation needs to increase. Temporary emergency alternative accommodation needs to be provided, and more affordable housing for the people who live in the inner city.
Yeah, I mean, just on that point of, you know, for you as Syria reflecting that the city has no coherent plan, how concerned are you as Syria, especially when you consider that 77% of the properties that have been surveyed lack basic services? You know, so of course the question then is, what immediate steps must the city take to prevent another disaster?
Yeah, we're extremely concerned by this, as are others. And I think the immediate steps that need to be taken concern the establishment of the committee that the Premier identifies in order to work with the City of Johannesburg, should also include residents. We recommend the National Department of Human Settlements as well, due to the capacity problems experienced by the City of Johannesburg. And as a matter of urgency, the assessment of the buildings, over 100 buildings conducted by Justice Kampepe and the Commission, provides detailed recommendations per building. And in particular, the Commission was concerned with the implementation of bylaws. So the city's breaking its own laws, essentially. The reason that people contravene the bylaws, though, is because of the situation of dire poverty and the absence of affordable formal accommodation options. This is really important because the Commission identifies, perhaps its headline finding, is that the assumption commonly held, widely publicized, that buildings are hijacked is incorrect. Hijacking criminal syndicates were found to alleged rental payments to non-owners occurred in only 5% of the buildings. This really overturns this myth that these buildings are all hijacked.
Yeah.
In fact, it's occupiers who are living in dire poverty who need support, budget allocation, alternative accommodation, and most importantly, the immediate, as the Commission report says, the immediate provision of basic services.
The next question, Lauren, is really two-pronged. I mean, how do you balance the rights of the urban poor to safe housing on the one hand with the city's attempts, to regulate unlawful occupation? Perhaps what is the one policy shift you would like to see urgently implemented to prevent, both housing-related tragedies and the worsening of cost of living pressures that South Africans are facing?
Well, on the housing front, we would say that the most important intervention is permanent affordable accommodation. And in many cases, because of people's poverty, this means, as ICHIP, the program I mentioned earlier, recommends, there are very affordable options, like both public and private rooms for rent. And then social services kick in for the rest of it. And the city does have an emergency support program, ESP, for which people can apply. And many of the clients we work with are indeed registered, which gives them access to free basic services.
Lauren, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but really a pleasure speaking to you. Lauren Royston, there is a Director of Research and Advocacy at the Socio-Economic Rights Institute.